What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? The Click It Man is here. Hey, you know what? That pro-choice, that pro-choice and pro-life thing, that the Roe versus Wade and all that stuff like that. You know what? I got to thinking. About how does that fall in with men? Do men have the right to pro-choice or pro-life? It's all about women. I know the baby incubates in a woman's body. I know that, and not to take anything away from women, because if it weren't for women, we wouldn't be here. But I just thought about that question. Check out this video.
I am pro-choice.
Yeah.
If a woman should have the right to opt out of motherhood and make that choice, should a man also have the right to opt out of fatherhood and 18 years of child support?
Not if the baby is coming into the world. Unfortunately, the baby will exist at that point and need to be taken care of.
Why should men be forced to be fathers if women aren't forced to be mothers?
They need to learn to keep it in their pants otherwise, honestly.
Well, is the man solely responsible for getting a woman pregnant, or does it take two people?
It definitely takes two people, but for him to walk out of their life, that's his choice.
That doesn't make any sense. She's answering this in a double standard way. He says, he asked her a straight up question. Isn't a woman's responsibility because it's her body? But she just kind of skip over his questions oh, well, yeah, but if he walks out the baby's life, what's that got to do with you closing your legs? The buck stops there with women, and I've said this time and time again. It's not just the man's responsibility, it's the woman's responsibility. Because believe me, I said this time and time again before, if a woman doesn't want to have a baby and the man wants to have a baby, they're not going to have a baby. A child is not going to be produced because that woman's going to go through every measure to make sure she doesn't get pregnant. And every measure to make sure he's protected if she doesn't have any protection. But most of all, like I said, the bus stopped there because, you can have safe sex, but there's no guarantee with that. So anyway, continue on with this video.
Well, for the people who say that the men should have thought of that before they had sex, isn't that the same argument that pro-lifers use against abortion?
Not necessarily. Pro-lifers are doing that because they don't think a life should be taken.
Well, I'm just saying, if you're going to say that a man should keep it in his pants, how is that different than saying a woman should just keep her legs closed?
Exactly. Let's see how she answers that.
It's not really different. The difference is the woman chose to be a woman and a mother and have the baby, and the man chose to disappear and maybe pay child support or not.
Well, why are we always talking about the woman's choice, but we never talk about the man's choice?
Women are just more degraded than men are, unfortunately. I literally have men coming up to me telling me they want to spank me and do this and that, and I'm like, dude, this is the first time we're talking.
You see how she did not answer the question? She totally avoided the question and went off into something. What does that have to do with he asked, women are being disrespected in so many words and spanked and all that stuff. What does that have to do with what he said? Asked her. She's avoiding to answer the question straight up. And see, this is the problem. It's a problem. Answer. You get people. Look, ladies. I know when y'all don't want to answer a question, y'all don't answer it. Y'all go off in left field or right field just to throw everything off, and then turn around and put it back on the man. That's what she's doing.
I don't know you.
Well, why are we always talking about
Check out this next
the woman's choice, but never the man's choice?
Because it affects the woman's body and it does affect the man's body.
Okay, but doesn't a woman have the choice to opt out of having her body affected?
Yeah, but it doesn't affect a man's body.
Okay, but it does affect a man's future, though.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so what reproductive rights do men have?
Exactly. What reproductive rights does man have? It seems like it's all about the woman. It's all about the women. And everything it's like men don't have any rights. Everything is about the woman. If it takes two to have a child, right? It takes two. Okay? My thing is this: what gives the woman the I'm trying to find the words, but what gives her the edge when it comes to reproduction? What if she gets pregnant, the man says, "Look, I don't want that child. I'm not prepared to have a baby or whatever like that. I just don't. I have my future ahead of me, and And she says, "No, I don't. No, I don't want an abortion. I don't want an abortion. I want to have the child." That's going against what he wants, right? So she'll go ahead and have the child, and then that man, because knowing he didn't want that child, and she knowing he didn't want that child, have to pay child support for the rest of that child's, at least until that child for the next 18 years. And then if he goes to college, then or if she goes to college, then that's even more money coming out of the pocket. You see what I'm saying? But then if the script is flipped, and she doesn't want to have the child, and that man wants to have a child, both of them produce that child. One can't produce it by themselves, right? And he wants to, and she doesn't, and she goes ahead and have an abortion. Shouldn't he have the right to? Okay, he might not. Okay, if she gets pregnant, he doesn't, and have the baby, he has to pay child support. But what are the ramifications for her if she go ahead and abort that child, and he wants to have the child? Shouldn't there be some legal action as far as that's concerned? Because if there's legal action for women when they have a baby against the man's wishes, and he still have to pay for the rest of that child's, well, not the rest of the child's life until that child's 18 years old, shouldn't he have some rights too as far as that's concerned? She, abort the baby and he wanted to have that child? There should be some legal action involved in that as well for the man, on the man's side. You see what I'm saying? It's lopsided. Everything, so it's like it takes two to have a child, but they have given the women all the power when it comes to procreation or pro-choice.
They can use protection if they're scared about having a kid. They can use abstinence if they don't want to have a kid.
Okay, but can't women do all the same things as well?
Yeah.
So then why is the man solely responsible for getting a woman pregnant, or does it take two people?
No, it does take two people, but I think ultimately it is up to the woman because it's her body that it affects.
I am pro-choice.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, at least she didn't try to evade the question. Anyway, I just had to, that something about that video just kind of irked me a little bit, because not so much irked me, but I found it interesting for the simple reason that, it's just like blatant in our faces, blatant in the men's faces that we don't have any rights when it comes to procreation or pro-choice, like the women does. Yes, I get it. She incubates the baby in her womb for 9 months, 7 months, or whatever the case may be. But how come the man doesn't have rights also if it's both of them that created the baby? Anyway, that's just a question I have. Please, y'all, leave comments and leave y'all thoughts in the comments. I appreciate that. People who are watching the video for the first time, please subscribe. And come on now, let's keep it real. Until next time, click it.